Hey guys, so I wanted to make a separate video just breaking down specifically and just talking about giving my thoughts on the newly announced game modes. So number one, we have the new guild battle mode, which if you guys remember back to, this was, I think, pre-second anniversary. This was back during the reveal and stuff. This might have been like the second or third ever reveal. Like it was way early in the game's lifespan. This was the same reveal and stuff that announced transforming Yellow Super Vegito and Broly and Chilai. Toshi had talked about that they were working on a guild battle mode. Now this is again 4 or 5 years ago, something, at least 4 years ago. He was talking about this in a reveal and stuff. So to finally know that it's coming out, I'm not sure what kind of hurdles they had to jump over. Not sure what kind of development roadblocks were in the way of them getting this mode out here. But nice to finally see that it has come into fruition and is actually being implemented here. So new guild battles, a massive 30 versus 30 battle between guilds for a maximum of 60 players. Move across the board and capture the base in the middle. Guilds silver tier and above can join. The battle system makes use of the auto battles from the Tournament of Power. All right, so right away, so what I'm basically going to do in this video is I'm going to go through these modes. We're going to give a brief overview of how they work, and I'm going to give some concerns that I have just off the bat. Again, I don't think these are bad for the game, of course. I'm just going to, initially look at what they presented to us, and I'm just going to give my issues that I see with it. And we'll see how these modes actually play out when they're implemented. Again, they did mention that these modes are going to be implemented at the end of the month, so we have a few weeks leading into the release. Maybe they're going to make some tweaks or whatnot, but so I think this is very good. Obviously, this is looking much more akin to the Tournament of Power mode as opposed to just like traditional PvP. Doesn't look like you're going to be teaming up with guild members to like PvP other guilds and stuff like that. This is more so of a strategic mode that is, again, looks similar in appearance at least to the Tournament of Power. So right off the bat, my main concern with what they showed off here is the fact that guilds silver tier and above can join. So if you are in a guild, or if you're a newer player that is in a guild that is not silver or higher, you're not going to be able to play the game. You're not going to be able to play this mode. You're going to be able to play the game, but you're not going to be able to play this mode. Which, I mean, again, we don't know anything about the mode, so I'm not sure if that's a detriment or not, but to restrict somebody from not being able to play the mode just based off of what their guild is ranked seems a little bit strange to me. I would imagine there's going to be different tiers depending on how good your guild is, depending on how highly ranked your guild is. So if you're in a guild that, is consisting of new players, maybe players that don't have as good accounts, maybe you don't have access to some of the better characters in the game, I would imagine that they're going to look at your average, player in the guild, and they're going to try their best to match you up with an opposing guild that has similar accounts, similar account levels in that guild for players. It should work similarly to the existing guild battles that are in the game already, but I think to entirely restrict this from not being accessible to people who are not in silver or higher tier guilds is a little bit silly, because just you're making a new mode and not everybody can play the mode. It seems strange to me. All right, then we have the next page here. Work together with your guild members and aim for victory. So it says charge into battle together in group fights, gigantic battle. And use items to buff allies and restore their health. I think there was one part of this announcement where they talked about, here we go. So how to participate in guild battle. Battles will be held on a season basis. Guilds can play once a day up to 5 times. Vote within your guild to decide what time you'll participate. So this, in combination with the fact that we know that if your guild is not at least silver ranked, means you can't even access the mode at all. This to me tells me that this is more so of a mode that is geared towards seasoned players. Players that have an already established community within the game. They're already members of a guild where people already are interacting with each other. I think when it comes to a mobile game like this, the majority of your player base is not going to be entrenched in a community. You're just playing the game casually. You're playing the game on your commute to work. You're playing the game at the gym, on the bicycle. You're playing the game, on the bus, on the train, when you're walking down the street. Like, this is the kind of game this is. It's a mobile game. So when you have a mobile game like this, the majority of your player base is not, going on Reddit and interacting with other people who are playing the game. They're just casually playing the game every now and then. Now, obviously, you're going to have parts of the community that, are actually active within sub-communities that are playing the game. And that's what I think this is more so geared towards. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure if this is the right direction to take one of these new modes in, whether you're going to be... Because essentially what this is saying is you have to actually coordinate with your guild members when you want to participate in this mode here. And so in order to do that, you need to have some sort of, connection with your guild members. And currently in the game, there is not a way to do that. Like, there is no chat in game. There is no way to communicate at all with other people in your guild. So I think if they're going to make a mode like this where it actually takes some kind of coordination with other players in your guild, there should be some kind of facilitation by the game, by an official way, to interact with other people. Either maybe you're looking for a guild, maybe there's some kind of like looking for guild feature where you can like post in game that you're looking for a guild, and someone who's in a guild that's recruiting people can look at your account. Maybe they look. That's another way they can take advantage of your profile as well. Remember, they added the new profile feature, account profile feature. You can have your account profile listed on the looking for guild area of the game, and then someone who's a guild master can take a look down the list of people who are looking for guilds and sort of send them invites and stuff like that. So even though there's not going to be a way, I don't think, ever to directly chat with other players in the game, there can be pseudo ways where you can reach out to other players, interact with them in that regard, which would, I think, help this a lot, right? So that's my main concern with this guild feature. We don't know much about this guild feature right now. We just know the basics of what they showed in the reveal here. But upon initial glance, that's really my main concern here. So that's really all I can say about the guild update here. I think we're going to move on to the next new mode, which is going to be this Rating Match Proud pre-season. Well, it's just the pre, but it's called the Rating Match Proud PvP system. So this is a new PvP rule set, the Rating Match Proud system. Put your pride on the line and settle the score. So just to briefly go over what this even is. What is Rating Match Proud? So this is a special rating match season where you fight a first to 2 set against the same player. So it's basically just a 2 out of 3 against the same person. Utilize all 6 members of your party between rounds 1 and 2. So basically the way that this works is for the first match, you're just going to choose 3 of your battle members that you normally would. It's basically, the first match is basically just what you would expect from a normal match. You pick the 3 characters you want to use, you jump in, you fight, it's the same as usual. Starting from the second match is where you're going to have to pick the remaining 3 battle members. So let's just say, for example, they do a good job illustrating this on the screen here. You pick Spirit Bomb Goku, the Yellow Pan, and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta for the first match. The next match, you're going to have to make use of the 3 characters you did not choose for that first match. So it really is incentivizing you to build a comprehensive team and not just focus solely on 3 characters that you're always going to bring into the fight, which honestly is how the game has become, and I think a lot of that is due to the poor management of the Zenkai system. But that's seemingly what the system wants to get around here. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. See if we can move on here. I spent a lot of time talking about this. All right, so here we go. So 1 win and 1 loss, time for the final round, Battle of Pride. So basically, like I mentioned, it is a 2 out of 3 set. So if you win the first 2 matches, that's it. It's over. But if you win 1 and you lose 1, you're going to move on to this third match, which I guess they call the Battle of Pride. Choose at least 1 battle member from rounds 1 and 2 to fight in the final round and decide the true victor. So assuming you've won 1 match and you've lost 1 match, going into that third match, you're going to have to select 1 character from that you had in the first match and 1 character that you had in the second match. And then that third character can be whoever you want from, your entire team. So the mindset behind this mode and the reason why they're implementing this mode in the first place is because there is obviously a lot of monotony in the characters that are being brought to PvP. Like you enter the PvP queue and you find an opponent to fight against, and 9 out of 10 times, you see their team, you know exactly who they're going to pick. A lot of times people don't even bother to put equipment on their entire party because it's just like you have the same set 3 characters going into the fight every single time, so it doesn't even matter, right? So this is their attempt at changing things up with this Battle of Pride mode. And also, just to quickly mention the wrap-up thoughts about this. Oh yeah, we'll actually get back to this in a second here. So let me just forward a little bit here. So the Rating Match Pride, whatever it's called. So from what I understand from the explanation from this video, now I might be misinterpreting this, but upon initial watch through of the reveal, this is what I gained. This is what I interpreted from their explanation. It sounds like this is actually going to be replacing traditional PvP for this season. This is not going to be a permanent mode. This is going to be something that is implemented for a season, then it goes away and we go back to normal PvP, and then 2 months later they bring the mode back again, and for that season it'll replace PvP. But for the season where this is actually implemented, it will in fact be replacing traditional ranked PvP for the season. So for the first preseason, they said they're going to take a preseason for this to actually be tested and see how people react to it. It sounds like when you want to queue up into ranked PvP, this is what you're going to be doing for the entire season. You don't have a choice between this or ranked. And that's going to be on the list of one of the things we're going to talk about in a second here. So, I watched through the initial reveal here. We saw how they talked about this mode, and I have immediately 3 concerns surrounding the mode here. There's 3 things that I think just pop out to me immediately as sort of being like, how do I feel about this? We'll see. So the first thing is going to be what I talked about already, and that is the fact that it is going to seemingly being replacing regular PvP, traditional ranked PvP, for an entire season. That's, again, sounds like what it's going to be doing for the season. And the reason why I am a bit skeptical on that, I guess on that implementation, is because I think a lot of people are going to want to just remain with traditional PvP. And this is going to go hand in hand with this, which is basically the procedure of how the mode is going to progress once you actually queue into an opponent. So again, like I mentioned, you have 3 rounds. You have the first round where you choose whoever you want. You have the second round where you have to choose who you didn't use in the first round. And then the third round is going to be where you have to choose one character from, what you used in round 1, one from what you used in round 2, and the third one can be any character. Now, the way that they explain that this works is it sounds like after every single fight, you get to choose whether or not you want to move on to the next round. So, like it says here in round 2, or after you finish round 1, the loser gets to decide whether or not you move on to round 2, or the loser gets to decide whether you want to, just leave. So, what it sounds like to me is for somebody who goes into PvP with the predetermined mindset that, hey, I just want to play regular PvP. I don't want to have to deal with this, proud thing or whatever. I'm just going to leave after the first match every single time. But I guess the way that they work around this, is that they only allow the loser to decide whether or not they want to continue or not. But the fact that this is replacing traditional PvP, I think is going to have a much bigger impact on people leaving after this first round if you lose. People are going to get frustrated after they lose, and they're going to say, okay, well, I'd rather just, play traditional PvP, and so I'm just going to leave after every single time I lose in the first round. That's my main concern with this. The fact that this is replacing PvP means that people don't even have the option to just queue into regular PvP, so they're forced to play this, and because they're forced to play this, they're going to take the option that that is most similar to regular PvP, because that's what they want to do in the first place. And again, after round 2, what does it say? Player 1 and player 2 accepts, or player 1 or player 2 refuses. So it sounds like even if you win the second match, so this is assuming that, player 1 and player 2 have both won a fight here. So it's 1-1. One of these 2 players can decide just to leave, because it says if player 1 or player 2 refuse, they get to just back out, right? So let's just say even if player 1 wants to continue to the round 3 Battle of Pride, if player 2 just says, nah, I'm good, and leaves, then you don't get to move on to the third round. So I'm a little bit skeptical about the actual format of how this is going to work because of the fact it's not because of the actual format of the event. Actually, it's more so just the fact that you're restricting people from being able to play traditional PvP. And I guess the reason why they're doing that is because maybe they don't think they have the player base to support two separate ladders running in parallel with each other, right? Because if they had this mode, this rating match proud, PvP ladder, and then they had a separate traditional rating match ladder moving in parallel with each other, you're going to have a portion of the player base that is mostly going to be focused on playing traditional PvP, and then you're going to have a portion of the player base that's more so focused on playing this rating match proud ladder, right? And so I guess what their thought process is, we don't want to split the player base into those two buckets because it's going to heavily decrease the overall match quality that you're getting from those individual buckets, because the population of people that are playing the game in either bucket is going to be half, essentially, or I guess less than half, depending on what the split percent between those two buckets is. But I don't know. We'll see. I actually have significant doubts as to whether or not this format, in its current form that's displayed here, is going to work as they intend. But I think it does sound very, very fun. My second concern is going to be that when you have a mode, again, we'll go back to the explanation slide here. When you have a mode like this that forces you to use 6 battle members, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to jump over to my game in a second. Let me actually just pull this up. Okay, so let me scroll down here. All right, here we go. When you have a mode like this that is incentivizing that you use, well, not even just incentivizing, they're forcing you to use a team of 6 battle members, what tags do you think people are going to be using in this mode? Take a wild guess. Do you think people are going to be using this tag? Lineage of Evil. Could you even pick 6 characters to even think of using in PvP with Lineage of Evil tag? No, you can't, because there's not 6 good characters on this tag. You know what? They just buffed Vegeta Clan. Why not look at Vegeta Clan? You know what? Let's build a team. What team can I just get rid of? Well, let's just get rid of this Android team. Let's try and build a Vegeta Clan setup here. So let's take you. I mean, let's just assume we have Super Vegeta. You know, let's just use this as the new Super Vegeta placeholder for him. We have Bulla. We have you. We can take this guy, and I guess we can take this guy. I mean, it's okay, right? This is an okay team, but I mean, fights where you're going to be bringing like this Pan, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Fights where you're going to be bringing like Bulla, you're going to be at a disadvantage because they're just not as good as modern, summonable LFs or Ultras. On the other hand, let's take a look at the Saiyan team. You could take the first like 40 units on this list and you're going to be fine. So when you're incentivizing, again, I always say this, it's not when you are forcing that people use a full team. Again, I think the concept is good. I think the execution is going to be a little bit questionable. When you're forcing people to use 6 characters, the entirety of your team over the course of a set of 3 fights at max, you can't build a team around a tag that only has a few viable options, which is what the majority of the game is. Even Future. I mean, we could take a look at the Future team. I mean, Future historically has been one of the teams that people have memed on for not having, a down period where they just they just constantly get buff after buff after buff after buff forever until the end of time in perpetuity, right? Vegito Blue, Cell, Sword of Hope Trunks, Ultra Rosé. Okay, now what? Like what? Who else? This guy? Vegeta and Trunks, Future Gohan, the tag androids, Red Cell. Like, again, these characters are not bad, but there is such a significant difference between like the 6th best character on Future versus like the 6th best character on LOE. it is not, or sorry, not Eloy, the sixth best character on Saiyans. Like, I'm going to make the case where it's like, if you're not running a team that consists of 6 Saiyans, or you're not running a team that consists of, like, I don't know, what's another good one? Like, androids, I think, could be a decent one. I think Universe Survival Saga, or what is it? Universe Rep. Universe Rep could be a good one, right? You have UI Goku, you have these guys. Frieza's pretty good. Jiren's pretty good. Hit is still solid. 17 is good. Goku and Frieza can still work well. Revival UI is pretty good. Yellow Jiren is okay. Like, you have a lot of options here that can work very, very well, because you have all these characters that released during 2023. They just could not stop buffing this team. Whereas, again, some of these other teams, like Vegeta Clan, like Future, like Hybrids, I mean, we could just go down the list. Regen, basically any team that isn't Saiyan is going to be at a disadvantage, because, again, your 5th best character, your 6th best character on all these tags, it's not even going to be comparable to the 5th or 6th best character on the Saiyan tag, because of how many constant buffs it gets. And that's just the innate disadvantage of having a game like this that is subject to the tag system, because every single character that comes out is basically Saiyan. So that's concern number 2 here. And then concern number 3 is probably less of a concern to most people that play the game. I'm going to switch back over to the Chrome layout here. Give me 1 second. Where is it? There it is. My third concern, I already sort of talked about matchmaking. It sort of goes hand in hand with what I talked about in the initial point here, but it's like, because this is replacing normal PvP, and people are not going to want to, in a lot of cases, they're not going to want to sit through 3 matches. Like, again, you're playing the game on the subway, you're playing the game on the train, you're playing the game on the exercise bike, you're playing the game when you're walking down the street. People don't have time to sit there and play 3 full matches of PvP, especially when you're going up against teams of like Saiyans, where you have a revival character, you have an indestructible character, you have a character that has a dodging gauge. Like, these matches are going for 5-6 minutes. So you're telling me, instead of having 1 5-minute match, we're now going to have to sit through a 15-minute ordeal whenever I queue up into PvP here. That's another big thing, right? I mean, like, how long are these matches going to take? And is that conducive to a game that is a mobile game? I don't know. It's going to drastically change the landscape of PvP, I think. And then one other quick thing just to quickly mention is, how are they going to be doing RP rewards for the season, right? Are you going to be getting more RP if you win a 3-set fight instead of if you just win like the first? Like, let's just say you win the first round and then the opponent leaves. I assume you would be getting less RP for that win than if you had actually fought through a 3-round matchup, where let's say you won the first fight, you lost the second fight, and then you won the third fight, and so therefore you win the set. You've won 2 out of 3. Therefore, you've won the Battle of Pride. I assume in that instance you would have gained more RP than if you had just won the first match and then the opponent leaves. But I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Like, that could be a huge issue for people who are trying to go for higher ranks. Based off of RNG, how many times did you get an instance where the person left immediately, right? And then you just gain more RP that way. That's another concern. But I mean, there's a lot of concerns that I have with this mode. But again, at the end of the day, I do like this idea. I think this is going to take a lot of tweaking for them to get right. But I think my biggest concern overall is just the fact that, it seems to me, based off of their explanation, that this is going to be replacing PvP for the season that it's implemented. I would much prefer if they found a way to have this coexist at the same time with traditional PvP, and then just have people pick and choose, okay, you know what, I'm feeling like traditional PvP, let me jump into traditional PvP. Okay, today, you know what, I'm feeling like I want to go through the rating match proud ladder. Let's queue up and do a 3-set fight here, right? I think having people allowing people the choice to jump into either one of the ladders, I think, is going to end up being better overall, even though you might end up sacrificing match quality a little bit, because the player base is going to be bifurcated between those two systems, those two buckets. But let me know down below what you guys think of the system here. I'm definitely interested in seeing how this ends up. But again, I do have a fair bit of concerns here. Hopefully they, take a look at the statistics that they've accumulated from the preseason and tweak things to make it better for the seasons after that. But again, we won't be seeing this until the end of the month, they said. So I think what will probably happen is, when does this current PvP season go until? Let me actually just quickly check. The current PvP season goes until the 21st, so next week. So I think actually next week is when this will be implemented, I would assume. But we'll see. But yeah, let me know down below what you guys think of the Raiding Match Proud system, as well as the new guild, sort of like PvP guild battle system. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.